Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to FSI's special Kentucky Derby edition. I am your host, TK Nation 47, joined by Mega Roller 31. We are breaking down tomorrow's 147th Kentucky Derby. Are you pumped for this? This is awesome.
Yeah, it's really cool to have it back in May. Last year, they ran it in September due to COVID. And it was kind of a strange situation, too, because some of the horses didn't have their regular jockeys
Uh-huh.
because these jockeys were competing for titles in New York State at Saratoga. And
Sure.
because of the quarantine rules, they wouldn't have been able to leave New York State, go to Kentucky, and be able to go back to New York State and come out of quarantine to be able to compete in order to be in the races they needed to be to complete for the championship. So you had the B team jockeys on some of the horses, and it was just a real strange situation. Coupled with the fact that the time before when we left the Kentucky Derby, we left it in controversy as Country House came and ended
Yeah,
up
Country House.
winning the race based on technicalities. So um,
Sure. Yeah, that's awesome. I do watch this race every year. I won't act like some form of, you know, weekly horse better, but I think this is a really fun, interesting aspect um, into what we do DFS. But we could shift our focus here to some straight bets, some superfectas, trifectas. It's really fun, and my aunt really got me into this when I was a kid. So always watch the big Triple Crown, and we've been doing some research here. We got ourselves a chart. Mega has so graciously shared with us. So if you want to get into it, we
well, I
can.
think before we get into it, we
If
just
you,
need
yeah, I
to
was wanted to add to
if
anything first.
well, if we have DFS players, this is something where, well, first of all, probably the best place to go, because you're not going to find this on FanDuel Sportsbook or DK Sportsbook. It's not even on Bravada. You're going to have to go to TVG, which I
Or
think,
Twin Spires.
yeah, or Twin Spires. And both of them, I believe, are probably running promo accounts for new
Oh
users.
yeah,
FSI has nothing to do with these sites. These are just the sites that we know of that to recommend. So we're not getting
sure,
any kickback or anything for any promos or anything if you sign up. So
right.
we're just trying to direct you, because it took me forever to figure it out last year when I was trying to look through DK Sportsbook and FanDuel Sportsbook and Bravada for hours. Like, it's got to be here somewhere, but it isn't. So, but it's not like DFS. So if in DFS, you like, and if you're a mass multi-entering player, you're going to lose a lot of money if you try to build like 150 lineups out of these horses, because it
Sure.
just doesn't work that way. You got to kind of like pick 3 to 5 that you like, and there's
Yep.
different ways to do it. You can bet them straight up. You can bet them to finish. Okay, this horse, this is my first place. This is my second place. This is my third. You can box them, which you
Hmm.
have to pay like 6 times the money because it takes every single combination. But if you pick
Right.
one horse, you're picking it for first, second, or third. The second horse for first, second, or third. It doesn't matter how they place. Um, so, and then you can get some really complicated bets in here. So I think, if you're looking into it, and you're just starting out, just dip your toes in the water, keep it simple, have some fun. If you
Yeah.
want to do some more serious, then just look up online, like what the different types of bets are and what they mean before, because when you lock these bets in, it's not like FanDuel or DraftKings where you can withdraw your entry an hour before. Once you
Yeah.
made that bet, it's locked in. Now,
Yeah.
granted, if something
Take it real
happens,
close.
right, if one of these horses is scratched or something happens and it doesn't run, then you get your money automatically refunded. It's not like a rain out or
Yeah.
something in DFS
Sure.
where, sorry, you should have been better.
Yeah.
So, so speaking of that, the field is down to 20. King Fury did get scratched. I don't know what the situation is. I went in, I had him like written up and everything and all his statistics, and then I went in about 8 o'clock this evening, and he just wasn't there anymore to bet on, and said he was scratched. So make sure that the number 16 horse you do not use. So
Yeah.
okay,
Yep.
you ready to look at the field?
Yeah. Pole sitter actually. is a good horse.
Oh,
You have
okay, sorry. One more thing before. If you're not familiar with horse racing, there's usually, like most of the horse races, you'll see there'll be about 12 horses. With the Kentucky Derby, for years there was like 16, and then they added on an auxiliary gate
auxiliary
to
gate.
put
Yeah.
4 more horses. Now they finally have a permanent gate that has 20 spots to it, so
Oh,
it
do
can
they
get,
really?
yeah, so
Nice.
it can get a little crowded. So
Yeah.
when you're looking at it, you don't really want post 1 or 2. Now, horses have won from 1. It's been a while. I think it's been since 1986 since somebody's won from 1, 2, or 3. So 1 and 2 are not ideal. 3 and
No,
4
you don't want to be on
are
the inside rail coming out the gates.
right, right, because like all the
You have to
horses
get out
want
fast,
right, right, gravitate over to that. So 3 and
Yeah.
4 are a little bit better. The sweet spot is pretty much 5 to 15. You don't
Yep.
want 19 or 20. 18's okay, and 17 is kind of the kiss of death. And this
It
is
is.
like superstition. No horse has ever won from the 17th. There's
Uh,
nothing physically wrong with the 17th position. It's all happenstance. It's not an ideal draw, but it's not, there's nothing specific that's going to make that position that a horse is never going to win from there. So there will be
sure.
a winner. And again, we're not talking like these horses aren't like seeded. It's a random draw. This is not the NCAA tournament where you have like 16-1, a 2 versus a 15. Like they're randomly put in here. So your
Mhm.
best draws are 5 through 15. Most of your winners recently have come from 13 to 15th, with the most wins overall coming from the 5th position and the 10th position, which
Mhm.
really means nothing. That,
No,
but that's why I have a little bit
but
green
people
around the
bet this
card.
way though. They do, especially in horse racing.
Right. But so anywhere from 5 to 15 is pretty much the sweet spot because it's in the middle. So they're not running so much distance as the higher gates are trying to get to the corner to get ahead. And you're not getting pinched to the rail by all the other horses with all like the moving for positions. So that's a little bit of an explanation of like why post position matters. So okay, TK,
Right.
we're just starting at 1 and going down to 20.
Yeah, we'll go right through one through 20. Known
Okay.
agenda, 6 to 1. But we have, one of the top speed in this field, Todd Fletcher, world-class trainer. Irod Ortiz is a really good jockey as well. This horse is pretty good. And, a lot of people are thinking the number 1 stall is not for me. I've seen, some lower odds throughout this field. What are your thoughts on known agenda? Is he still making your top 5 to top 10? Well, I say we'll just go with top 5. Is he making your top 5 when it comes to bets this weekend?
Yes, and here's why. He won the Florida Derby, which is
Mhm.
a very good race. If you look at it here in our chart, I'll move my cursor to it. He
Yeah.
has a 112 speed. Everybody else is in the 90s.
Yep.
Even though his style, and maybe I should call it a timeout here and explain, we have pretty much 4 styles of horses. You have your pace setters. These are the pressers. These are the horses that want to go out there and like burst out of the gate and get out there and run really fast and set the pace. And hopefully the strategy is that they run so fast that the rest of the horses can't keep up with them. And even if they tire out and let down a little bit, they've gotten so much of a lead that the rest of the horses can't catch up to them. Your next group of horses are your mid-pack ones or your stalkers. They're the ones that kind of lay back a little bit. They're going to wait for those pace setters maybe to tire down out, and they're
Mhm.
going to surpass them and hopefully at the end be able to put in that kick and take over and win the race. Then you have your mid-pack to closers. They're ones that want to really pace themselves throughout the race. They're going to stay closer to the back, and then hopefully all the horses ahead of them tire out, and then they have that last burst of speed, and these are the ones that probably have like the best endurance. And then you have your deep closers. Those are the ones that really have no sense of urgency in the beginning of the race, and again they are in, what they say is that they come from the clouds because pretty much out of really nowhere these horses just at the end just they have, it's like Fast and Furious, they hit that nos, gas, and they just like
Yeah,
blow by everybody like it's a video game, and that's their style. So
sure.
known agenda is not a presser, it's more of a mid packer or closer, but the speed
Yeah,
that the horse has, it should be able to hopefully get out um, faster than these 1 through 5 guys who actually there's nobody really until you get to 8 that has anywhere close to the speed that known agenda does. So that's why I think that it potentially could win this race, and the odds are 6-1, even though it's a bad draw. It could win the race, but I think that it should be able to at least be in the money. And if you're looking at the chart here on the screen here, we have starts, we have win percentage. ITM stands for in the money. So out of the 6 starts that this horse had, and the starts are way down this year just because of COVID, there haven't been as many races. Like sometimes you see horses come in and they have like 10, 15, 20 races before, the Kentucky Derby.
yeah,
Um, but in the money 83% of the time. So that to me shows like the horse has really good stamina also. So the nice thing about this race is it's on dirt. It should be fine. There shouldn't be any rain. I did put a weather column in just to show there's a couple horses that have run in some muddy races and really haven't
right.
done well. The green ones are ones that did run in muddy races and did well, but that shouldn't even be a factor. So, but anyways, got good stamina, and I think with the Florida Derby, just the way this horse has done, I think definitely is one that I'll have in my pool.
Yeah. The race for known agenda is you got to get them out fast. You got to get them along the rail, and you got to get them up into the top 5 on that pace. I do wonder if it's going to change how he races. Like you had alluded to with the lack of number of starts. Maybe he's not been in this position before, and it just I could see a reason to fade the play, and I can also see a reason to play it. I think I'm going to have a little bit of money on known agenda, and he's going to be in my player pool. From 2 to 4, like the King, we got some long shots. Like the King, Brooklyn Strong, or yeah, 2, yeah, and keep in mind. Any thoughts on those guys? I'm not seeing anyone ringing a bell as far as like world class trainer or
Brooklyn Strong is in this race because they needed a 20th horse. There's so many horses dropped out ahead of it. It only had 10 Kentucky Derby points. So
oh
like,
wow,
yeah, exactly. Like the King placed in all of the races it ran, but it's more like a superfecta long shot.
sure.
In the
Hey,
post
country
position.
house, you never know.
Yeah, and keep in mind, there's really nothing good there. It peaked early as a 3-year-old. It's had its struggles. It lacks speed. It won't close on this field, and like, um, it's a closer, but it just doesn't have the speed to try to catch up to like the rest of the field, I don't think. So
Yeah, I
I'm
think
fading these.
speed is the reason to be out on these 3 horses. Fifth, we have Sainthood. Looks like some really low speeds. Looks like a young horse. Todd Fletcher, another decent, that world class trainer. He's got a lot of entries this year. Thoughts on Mr. Sainthood?
It's the least experienced horse in the field.
Yeah,
There's so many unknown factors, but that could be a positive or that could be a negative because we
hmm
don't know what we don't know. So
yeah,
this horse could go out and and that's why I have it listed as a dart,
hmm
as a 50-1. I think if you this is like your GPP play here,
yeah,
for in DFS terms, it's a horse that doesn't look great on paper, but does have potential. It has really good stamina.
sure,
So, and you'll see, like, as we make comments here, a lot of these horses race on 1 mile and 1/8 or 1 mile and 3/16. They don't get to the full 1 1/4 mile racing.
yeah, yeah,
So in that, people think, well, does that little bit extra really matter? It does significantly. And
Yeah.
this horse has, it might not have the speed, but it's a stalker, which means that it's going to stay kind of in the middle of the pack. And hopefully, if it has a little bit extra that some of these pace setters don't have, then it can surpass them and place. I don't see this horse winning this race, but I do think that it has an outside chance of placing,
Yeah.
which would be for second or third.
Right. Don't mind it. Bezos, 20 to 1. Looks like he is a deep closer. Guy coming in hot at the end. Any love for him?
Not not really.
No
Finished
love for
third.
Bezos.
This horse recently finished third in a race against two non-elite horses in the Louisiana Derby. Um,
Oh, really?
yeah, his style is to lay way back and like most likely won't have the speed to reach the front from the end. So
Sure. Out on Bezos. Mandaloon looks like a decent shot here. Any love for Mandaloon? Florent Durant,
I
one
think
of a good jockey in Florent.
yeah, I have him rated it as a good play. Um, he's been inconsistent. He's won and then he's disappointed. So he's been Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde in races. But the recent trainings that he's done at this Churchill Downs, where they're going to be running, have gone really well. So it seems like he's pointed back in the right direction. Um, just a few more questions, or not as many questions as Sainthood. He's a little bit more established, but still, like, what's his form going to be?
Yeah. Coming up next, we have my favorite horse in the field, Medina Spirit, 15 to 1. I am a Bob Baffert junkie. Anything Bob does in horse racing is pretty much turns to gold. He is the Hall of Famer trainer. He's got one of the Hall of Famer jockey and John Velasquez. He's got some really good speed here. He's got a pace setter as well. 100% in the money. Medina Spirit going to be in most of my bets tomorrow.
Sorry, the trainer, like, before I like even knew anything about horse racing, I heard the name and I always thought it was like Bob, I think Bacharach. He was like the lounge singer that sang that song,
Yeah.
like If You Get Caught Between the Moon and New York City. And then I saw him and he looked
Oh
like
yeah,
Bobby Cremins, the Georgia
he
Tech
is.
coach
Yeah,
from
he's a
basketball a couple
character.
years ago. But anyways, yeah, he is a legendary trainer. He's got 6 wins at the Kentucky Derby with his
Yep.
horses. He's won 3 out of the last 5.
Yep.
However, this they're saying, and it's a very good starting draw for the horse, but they're saying this is a good horse, not a great horse. His best horse, his name was Life is Good. Did not make the field. It injures his ankle. There was a second horse ahead of this too that went to the Louisiana Derby, I believe, and finished like 6th or 8th. It had a horrible race, and they decided maybe this horse is not ready for the Kentucky Derby, so they didn't enter him. So right here, you have the third best horse in the stable, which again, it is an amazing stable. So the third best
Yeah.
horse in the stable could be better than, most of this field, and the
Exactly.
jockey also. So you've got like good pedigree, you've got a good trainer, you've got a good jockey, you've got a good program. It's just not the best horse that they could have brought. So
Right.
I like it.
But the
He's
price tag on it is pretty much tells you that this isn't the best horse that they
right.
have. But I'm willing to take a shot at 15 to 1
Yeah.
with juicier odds with Bob Baffert and John Velasquez as a combination with a horse that is fast and that does finish in the money. So we're going to get decent weather. I just hope he holds on to his pace. Like this is like Medina Spirit's probably a good bet for the win, but I think he's going to be in most of the superfectas or the trifectas, the exactas. He's going to be in most of those because I think he's going to be the horse that sets the pace. He gets out to a good lead, strong finish. Is probably looking at like third, second, and I'll take it. And hopefully I can get it right with the winner. So anything else to add on Medina Spirit before we get to the
No.
best name in the field? Hot Rod Charlie in the 9 hole. one of the best horses in the race, 8-1 odds. Um, I can't ever pronounce his name. Fleur. Nope, not going to do it. Pratt.
Pavine.
Flavine
Pavine
Pratt.
Plat.
I'm not, oh
I don't
yeah.
know if that's right, but that sounds right.
I mean,
So
you can see it in the charts here. It looks like 8 through 10 are going to be the three horses that jump out to the start of this.
mhm.
Like these three guys are going to be setting the pace. Medina Spirit, Hot Rod Charlie, and
No,
you don't think so?
no, I Rock Your World is going to be the one that's going to. He has been a wire to wire horse, so he's probably going to be the one that's going to get out there and try to set the pace. They're going to be contending with him.
And you know what's cool about the 15 hole is that they crash down through the field, starting out top like that, and they usually cut off a few horses. So but we're getting into it
Yep.
now.
We'll
As
get to
far as
that in a second. Let's
yeah,
back to Hot Rod Charlie.
yeah,
He
Hot Rod
he,
Charlie.
he,
I think
he
he's a good
will
horse.
he will be fast. He won the Louisiana Derby. He finished second to the favorite in this field, who is Essential Quality. But it was a really close race at the Breeders' Cup, and he's got a great draw. So definitely in my 5, definitely one that I like. Definitely could win this race and should finish in the top 3.
Yeah. Yep, he should. He definitely should. Midnight Bourbon, 20-1. Looks like
The only thing with Hot Rod Charlie is he gets a yellow for endurance because he hasn't run. He's one of the ones that hasn't gone the full length of this race, but there's nothing to show definitively that this is a question, that this is a concern, but we haven't seen him do it, so it's not a green.
Yeah, it makes sense. Midnight Bourbon starting in one of the prime positions as far as when it comes to the gates. Mike Smith, decent jockey.
Hall of Fame
Asmussen,
jockey.
yeah, yep. He's really good. This horse is 7-7. Midnight Bourbon. Any interest?
Yeah, he's placed every single race that he's won. He's peaking at the right time. He's got better and better and better in every single race, and he is definitely one that I'm looking at in my 5.
Yeah, I'm starting to build my 5 now that we're getting into some of the meat and potatoes here. I think I'm going to do Medina Spirit, a little bit of Known Agenda, some Hot Rod Charlie, and now I have to start making a decision here. Once we get through it, but yeah, this is getting interesting. I might have like 7 horses. That's not going to be good for the wallet, but it's going to be a lot of fun. Midnight Bourbon, I think that's a go for me. I don't know. I'm going to make a decision on that. Dynamic one, 20-1. Jose Ortiz, pretty good jockey. Todd Fletcher. I usually bet this combo every year. Every year, I always bet them to win. The Jose Ortiz Todd Fletcher combo is usual ticket I'm holding at the Kentucky Derby. Any love for this horse?
I think it's a deep dart. It's not a fade, but it's definitely
It's
a
a
deep
good,
dart. Pretty much a pretty long
bet.
shot here. The horse is fast. So it's 103 for speed, but 5 starts, only 1 win, only placing 3 out of the 5. It's a mid-pack to closer. It does have endurance. It's not good in weather, but that might be some of the problem is a couple of the races that it did run were in mud and muck, and the horse didn't perform well. So, it's 20-1. I'd rather
just bet this one straight up.
Yeah.
Keep them out of the superfectas and the exactas. Just like, all right, I'm going to throw my 20-1, maybe throw like $10 down on just an outright, and then leave the superfectas and stuff to some of these.
I'd like
mixtures.
As once we get to it, I'd rather take like Soup and Sandwich at 30-1 over this horse at 20-1. I think it's better play.
Okay. Helium and Hidden Stash looks like some more long shots. Marcasi's okay as a trainer. Any love for these guys?
Helium, I'm concerned with the stamina. Helium has potential to crash the party, but is very risky. He's had a 56-day layoff. He's never gone over 1 1/16 mile. and only has ever raced on dirt once.
Oh,
So
that's a
lots,
no for me.
yeah.
The you gotta have some races on dirt. That's just that hidden stash.
One of the slower horses in the field.
Yeah,
Um, it he's a deep closer who is fine in versus average competition, but I think he's too slow against a deep fast field like this.
I think if the weather were to pick up, hidden stash would be a decent option. Those deep closers that can get through some muddy situations. But and then you get the pace. I don't know. I'm going to be out. Essential quality. Let's get to the horse of the hour, the number one ranked horse, 2-1. Um, One of the fastest horses, the Stalker. What are your thoughts?
It's an undefeated horse and it's a clear
Yep.
favorite, but this is not a generational talent. This is not like the draft class with like LeBron James and Carmelo Anthony in
It's
2003.
it's
It's like
not
this year's
American
college
Pharoah.
draft class, which I can't even tell you who probably is going to be the top number one pick. It's going to be a good player, probably playing the NBA, but
Cade Cunningham.
okay.
That's
But the point
what
is
everyone tells
like
me.
with this field this year, you had at least 3 or 4 horses that should have been in this field that would have been very dominant. And if that life was good, I think would have been a monster in this field if it did not get hurt. And then there was another one that got hurt, and then a couple other situations. So the horses that did not make this field has kind of watered it down. So the best horse is, you know, I'm saying is like it's definitely above average, but it's not
Yeah.
elite. It's not a generational talent. This is not a firm. This is not, a triple crown guaranteed lock horse.
Yeah, I don't
Um,
think so either. I've
and
heard
the
from
last win, it struggled. It won, but it only won by like a neck or a head or something,
yeah,
which makes me wonder: did it lose momentum at the end? Did it lose stamina? Does it have enough? It's never gone this far, So I'm definitely in on it. I definitely think I have to play it as a block in my 5,
sure.
but it's not one that I would bet to win. Here's the other thing too. I have heard rumors from different areas that there are some people that really do like this horse and might put a couple $1 million on it. So
Jeez.
if you watch this video early in the morning, if you're betting the money line and not the odds, then you might want to get your bet in early, because once those millions of dollars are put on this, it's going to move the money line, and your odds are not going to be as good. And if it does win, you're not going to profit as much.
No, that's the hard part about horse racing. It is determining whether or not the favorite of the field is gonna win, because typically the favorites, they win in horse racing.
It's
So
like
you don't
golf,
get,
TK. It's like,
yeah.
you,
Well, that's all depends on
right.
different factors. But when it comes to Kentucky Derby, typically the best horse in the field will win. We got Rock Your World at 5-1. It looks like your pace setter, and it looks like your favorite horse in the field.
Um,
Tell me about your guy. 3 for 3.
it should get out early and lead wire to wire. It's a California horse, and
Oh,
these California horses have had a lot of success. Um,
Joel
I
Rosario's a good jockey too.
Yeah, uh, 3 starts, 3 wins,
Yeah,
placed. Again, hasn't raced as much, but I think this horse has just been able to get out there and to set the pace and dominate. And again, it's question mark because it hasn't gone as far. So can it get out fast enough and far enough to hold off everybody towards the end? So that's what we'll have to see here. But there's no
yeah.
indication that it won't. So I definitely like Rock Your World.
So I'm probably gonna have to go.
The other thing that's nice here too is that
Yeah,
the horse next to it's was scratched, so there's going to be a little bit more
that's
space.
that gap there. Yeah, I was gonna say I'm probably gonna have to go and pick between Highly Motivated and Rock Your World, or Midnight Bourbon. It's a lot of tough decisions coming, but the next horse up is Highly Motivated. 10-1, Javier Castellano, a really good jockey. This is actually one of the fastest in the field, and he is a stalker. Any love for Mr. Highly Motivated?
Remember how I said Essential Quality barely won its race and then only won by a little bit? You know
Yeah,
who the horse that lost to it by a neck was?
it was a Highly Motivated.
Yes, it was.
Uh-oh.
It was at the Bluegrass Stakes. The draw isn't ideal here, being this far out, but with King Fury
He's
not in
got
field,
a,
that gives
yeah,
you a little bit. And the notes say that it needs a clean race to place, and having that extra gate position between them could be the magic formula. So,
sure. Might have been the blessing
definitely.
that the 17
And again,
are
it's
going
in the
even.
cursed 17 slots,
Yeah,
so which
nobody's won
has never
here.
won, but that does not mean that this horse cannot win. I don't think it's going to. It has potential to, but I think you're looking more for it to place second or third with another horse.
Right. Okay. Super stock. 30-1. Looks like a long shot here. Most races in the field. Any love? 6-8 when it comes to placing.
Yeah, 2, 2, and 2, so consistently there. Had the last three races, it's one of the best, so it's peaking right now. It's getting
Ooh,
rounding
and it's a
into a really
closer.
nice form. It has really good endurance to come from behind and move up at the end. But again, the draw will be hard being this far out, so it's definitely going to have to. But then again, with its style being more of like a closer, doesn't really matter, because it can just kind of let the other horses get out there, fall in behind, and then use that speed to get past them at the end. So
See what I'm thinking, and I'm building a theory in my head, and it's going to make absolute no sense to no one. But I think we got rid of the auxiliary gate, right? So we basically created you know, an auxiliary gate with this scratch in the 16th position. Is it possible that Highly Motivated, Super Stock, Soup Sandwich, Bourbonic, some of they're fast horses? Is it possible that they can crash in on Rock Your World or Essential Quality, you know, kind of like jam them inside the middle of the scrum of things? Like, could this outside little pack be like, are you willing to, you know, superfecta or trifecta or something, maybe two out of the three horses in this like one area of the stalls? Is that something you're thinking about?
maybe, because if you look at the speeds and the styles, you're gonna see like probably that pack of like 8, 9, and 10 get out front, but everybody else kind of lays back. So, um, you could like we said, like the Knowing Agenda is a faster horse, but everybody pretty much 1 through 7 there aren't very fast horses and prefer to kind of stay towards the back. So you might see like different waves of like the horses
Yeah, yeah. I just think it's an
breaking away.
interesting thought to maybe go pretty close in proximity of their starting position in some of your bets. Any love for Soup and Sandwich? I think earlier you had mentioned you had some,
Yeah, I think it's good. Not much experience racing at the highest level, but it did finish second at the
but it
Florida
looks,
Derby,
yeah,
which
yeah,
right behind Known Agenda, which is a pretty prominent derby. Has looked good in training. He's at this track. The post position again is a concern, but
yeah. Longest race coming from the outside.
the 2 wins out of 3, and has placed every single time it's run.
Yeah. Bourbonic, the deep closer with the probably the most speed, with the most stamina, and he's got that deep closer mentality. I think this is a decent long shot bet for coming down the stretch, take the lead over kind of moment that you're cheering on your ticket. You're like, come on, finish the race. And then this horse comes flying up out of nowhere and steals the show. Is
And
this
has
the
won
show?
against some good horses already in this field. So,
Yeah.
and it has a
I
great breeder.
Oh, I like that. Um, yeah. I could see myself playing Little Bourbonic as a long shot bet. Probably gonna have to make that my bet over maybe the dynamic one that I was thinking of earlier. Although I do love the Jose Ortiz Fletcher combo, I think the Bourbonic horse might be a little bit better. Or is that anything else to add on that?
No, I think what we can do is I can drop this in the morning in probably a Google Doc and maybe put like a link in the comments here. So if people want to just refer to the chart themselves instead of trying to pause the video and like squint at it, you know.
Yeah,
But again, we're not people that watch horse racing all the time. It's just something that I've really enjoyed doing and watching over the years. And usually the week before I spend listening to different radio shows. Sirius XM has a whole horse racing channel, which they have multiple people and their views on that. And just read a lot. There's a lot of good articles out there that cover
yeah.
horse racing. So just put all the information together and just try to compile it and go with the consensus of what people are saying.
Yeah. And if you guys want to follow us in our Discord channel, talk to us in the general chat. I mean, maybe we could whip something up as far as the separate channel, talk about a little Kentucky Derby. But yeah, thank you for listening in, everyone. Mega. I think we did pretty good breaking it down. Got me a lot to think about. Gonna have to pop on the Twin Spires app after I get off this and make some bets before that public money gets bombarded into this, and those odds are going to certainly change. They always do. Comment below if you guys have any questions. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, Fantasy Sports Insight. Follow us on Twitter. I am at TKNation47. That is at Megarilla31. All right, Andrew. Good luck and enjoy a good day of racing tomorrow.
Yep, you too.